special feeling, special knowledge. All through, there's believing. I turned around and water was closing all around, like a glove, like the love that had finally found me. And I knew in the crystalline of you, drove me through the mountains, through the crystalline clear water fountain. It drove me like a magnet to the sea, to the sea, to the sea. How the faces of love change, turning the pages. I have changed, all but you. You remain ageless. I turn around and the water was closing all around, like a cloud, like a love that had finally found me. And I knew in the crystalline knowledge of you, drove me through the mountains, through the crystal like a clear water fountain. Drove me like a magnet to the sea, to the sea. That's not gonna work. To the sea. Okay, I don't know why this is not charging, you butt. There we go. All right, I'm touching it here. Excuse me. Sing it, girl. Queen Stevie Nicks, y'all. Queen Stevie Nicks. Okay. And the water is closing around. Okay. This should be okay. All right, we got 13 in the chat. It is your favorite high priestess, Jamila. Hey, y'all. Good evening. What's been going on today? Happy Friday. We got a lot to talk about today. In the heck happened to my remote? This is weird, you guys. Hold on, hold on. For some reason, I lost track of. That's crazy. Oh, here it is. I found it. All right. You know what? All right. Good evening, guys. I'm going to hop on camera in a minute, but I just wanted to say that it's funny how the spirits ended up playing that song from that movie. And in that movie, even though it's just a movie, they actually, the women in the movie, Sandra Bullock and, oh goodness, I can't even remember her name. The redhead in the video, they were actually in the movie, they were actually suffering from a generational curse to where every man that they love is destined to die. So it's funny how we ended up picking that song because there was actually another song that I wanted to use, but I don't have Shazam, so I didn't know the name of it, but it's okay. All right, so we're going to talk about generational hexes this evening. Hello, guys. Hello, hello, hello. Let's talk about generational hexes. Ugh. I hate generational hexes. Generational hexes suck. Hello. Oh, hit the thumbs up, you guys. By the way, you guys that are in the chat, I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm wearing clothes. I'm just wearing my little dress. So, and it's strapless or whatever, just in case, because you know how the woman's nude body is. Oh my God. Yeah. So let's talk about generational hexes and everything that you need to know about gen hexes, okay? So, first of all, most generational hexes come from someone within the family. Kind of like in that movie Practical Magic, it may have been your grandmother, it may have been your mother, it may have been an enchantment or a hex that was put on you at birth. It could also be put on you by, it can be put on you for either reasons or purposes of hurting you or protecting you. So a lot of times we will have women that are in your family that will continue to reaffirm hexes on the family. So we're going to talk about that in a second. What is a generational hex? A generational hex is a curse on your family that can a lot of the times end up being a blessing if you know how to turn things into a blessing. I do believe that generational curses can come from either your mother or your father's side of the family. And then also generational hexes that were put on you when you were born. It's still a generational hex because it was put on your bloodline and it will obviously affect your children. Okay, it will affect the situation around having children. For example, if you have a father that is obsessed with having bad luck, he just likes struggle. Let's say your dad, he just, struggle just turns him on like, yeah, it gives me life to struggle. You may end up suffering that same fate. Whereas if you had a father like, let's say, Will Smith, okay, and your father has a lot of money and and Will Smith even had issues with, money. So men tend to have issues with money, which is why women should always run the money, always. Always. Women should always run the money. The struggle and the difficulty that men can sometimes cause, because one of the biggest curses on your family is the curse of patriarchy. The curse of patriarchy is so obvious. A lot of people, either they see it or they don't see it. Maybe they don't want to see it. Okay, maybe they don't want to see it. Maybe they want to see something else. Maybe they just want. So, for example, if you have a woman in your family, now just to let you guys know, no matter what generational hex you have on you, I can remove it. Okay? But here's the issue. If you have a person in your family that is currently alive and kicking, and they don't really have a real connection with what obviously works for yourself, for whatever area, and let's say that that person is jealous of you for whatever reason. They're jealous of you because of the way you look. They're jealous of you because of the way you speak. They're jealous of you for whatever reason. And when you get that Gen Hex removal, if you do not cut cords with that person completely, okay, that person can go and reapply the hex. Now, I'm going to tell you something. There's always one person, one principle. There's a principle. This is where the curse originally started. After that, there are the agents, okay? Depends on how complex it is. A lot of you are dealing with very complex hexes, but it is rare, but it's still in large numbers for someone to be reaffirming that hex. Depends on how willful that person is. Now, if the person that originally caused the hex in the family, if they die, it's so much easier to remove it. If they're still alive and they keep reapplying the hex, then you got yourself a problem. Okay? Because what that person will do, that person will say, well, no, I'm jealous of this person. I hate this person. You know, your auntie, your mama, your uncle, your daddy, your cousin. It can be any one of those, but typically it's an aunt or a parent or even sometimes a grandparent. This is a person that feels some type of way about themselves. They're hurting. They never healed from something. And they have been known to curse their entire bloodline. But why is the prevalence in the Black community as well as the white community? Why is there such a high prevalence of mother and daughter issues? The reason why is because more than likely a demon, which is acceptance, being accepted, being seen as quote unquote normal. This is our main problem in this world. We cannot accept differences between each other. Can't do it. It's like I can do it. But about 80 to 90% of the world cannot accept differences between each other. Now, you may be a person that is woke and you can see this and you're like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Every woman in my family has suffered. Every man in my family has suffered. They've all went to jail. They all have died poor. They all have been through whatever. And so now I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now, what we are looking at is a prevalence of people that have current generational hexes on them. This is the reason why, see, my oldest is 19, so I would need to be working on that to be responsible spiritually for my children. So I've removed a lot of the gen hexes that I've had for my children, but see, my mother is still alive, and I'm not even going to get into personal detail about that. I'm going to quit talking about that, but probably if you get a reading or a consultation, I'll share that with you. But what I noticed that, she continues to hold the key to the hex, and she continues to try to reaffirm it or reapply it. And that's because she's still in her physical form. She is not moved on yet, and she doesn't have to, but she has to release the demon. And rarely do they do that. It's a very painful process. Most of the time with the narcissistic demon, and that demon makes it very difficult for you to let go. Now, there are a lot of people that are not woke enough to see that if everybody in your family has high blood pressure and you're constantly arguing, there's constant tension and stress, wouldn't you think that you are creating those blood pressure problems by all the stress that you're causing to each other? Most of the time, when you have a family full of people who are under that type of mind control and demonic control, they cannot see it. So what we have to do is we have to help you on an individual basis. The problem is that unless that person wakes up, you're going to have to cut the cord. They say one bad apple spoils the bunch. Now, if you have a principal, the principal is the person that is reaffirming the hex that created it in that current generation. A lot of times what these particular principals will do is they will hire others. They will recruit women as well as men within your family and pass the torch to them. This is very dangerous because let me tell you something. The person, and nobody should fall for it, because I'm going to tell you something. There will always be negative karma that's going to be attached to that. You should not carry the torch or the burden of a person that cannot accept themselves and see what the problem is within themselves. So the person that's doing it, either they lost their children, or, just somebody broke their heart and they never healed. So they'll look at and this is the reason why it's prevalent amongst older women. Sometimes that older auntie will be putting some shit on you. She'll be putting some shit on you and you don't even know it. And she'll have control over your daughters. You can recognize them. And you got to get your children away from these people. Okay? You got to get your children away if you want to save them. If not, they'll become agents of that curse. Okay? And they can be used. So what that person will do, and I'm a witch and a high priestess, and I don't put spells on my family. I don't do things to hurt my family. It's not in my nature. Even though 90% of our families believe that witchcraft is evil. So there's an automatic stigma of women. Witchcraft is women. Okay, this is female energy. Now, there are male witches, yes, but this is mainly coming from either the older females of your family, or a generational curse can be obtained the generation before, or either the second generation before, either one or two generations previous to yours. And it can skip generations. The reason why generations is because somebody will be able to connect with those spirits from when the curse originally originated, and those spirits can then trick a person. Okay, this is the reason I don't do evil curses on anybody unless I have to, and especially not family. What I do is I'll send their bad energy back to them. I'll send it back to you, but I'm not going to do any hexes. I don't do that. Okay, I'm going to send you exactly what you sent me. And some of these people can be sending out, for example, heart disease, cancer, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes. These things run in the family because there is usually a principal person that keeps applying that generational hex. And I can tell you that diabetes is all about what's in your diet. That's why it's diabetes, because it's all about what the hell are you eating? When are you eating it? Are you eating stuff that's in season? Do you go to the stores and get a pumpkin and eat pumpkin seeds? They are filled with magnesium. Are you doing that? Are you eating the foods that is indigenous to you? Okay. And indigenous, this is the one thing we cannot change. We cannot change what the hell our ancestors ate. Okay, and we're not going to get into that because then that I would have to get into veganism and all of that shit, and I'm not going to get into that. Okay. Hey, Bless 41, hello. So the generational hex, if there is a principal party reaffirming that hex, now again with practical magic, if you are watching that movie, you can see where the aunts, they pass down the curse to the children. First of all, they put it in their subconscious. Remember when they were sitting out around the table? They loved their daughters and their nieces, but they said, let's face it, if anytime somebody gets involved with us, the man dies. And the other aunt was like, well, it's so, but there's always one that reaffirms it, and they do it based upon the hurt and the pain that they feel. So then what you find is that none of your aunts, cousins, mothers, brothers, sisters, or uncles are giving you any hope and inspiration. They are affirming these hexes in your mind as well. So what they do subconsciously is they manifest the hex to continue to happen over and over again. Now, again, it is demonic, in my opinion. So, for example, with Black women have been, and I think that this is like, because the era and the times really matter. But there's a lot of Black women that are faced, unfortunately, either you give up the Black man, or you'll never have any money, because the Black man is going to be so oppressive to you sometimes that he's going to. So a lot of Black women, by standard, this is standard, you have to choose between having a healthy life and a Black man. Has anybody ever noticed? You have to choose. And this is another generational hex. This is a subconscious occurrence that is coming through the language and the energy and the feelings that is coming from your mother and your father. And the problem was that, many Black people and white people, they were, we were taught to not set the standard for our environment. This is the reason why witches are so widely hated. We're discriminated against in business, which is why spirits are going to mainstream us. So people will, we'll have our own stuff. And that's going to lead me to another discussion a little bit later that I'm going to have with y'all about how I'm going to have people pay for their spells and stuff. So, but maybe that's stuff that we need to discuss in private. I'll discuss it with you in private whenever you come get your consultations. They discriminate against us. And they consider witchcraft to be high risk, but that makes no sense because the crazy psychos are actually running everything. Witches are important because we know how to set the tone for the environment that we want. We have a deeper level of understanding. Many of us do now. I'm going to tell you, some of these witches that's running around here, patriarchal witches, I don't know about patriarchal witches. I don't want to sit with y'all. I don't. And I can tell you that spirit, you'll be delayed but never denied. And that's a true statement. There's no fear with witchcraft. Once you have done a spell or a ritual, that is it. There is no question to if that shit is going to work. Ritual is very powerful. And witchcraft is very powerful. Now, there's some witches that they spells just don't work. It just doesn't work. There's no connection, but there's some people that do have that ability if they have tapped into it to make a spell work. So when it comes to witchcraft, they outlawed it and this is a demon, and I don't give a damn. It's listening to me right now. I don't give a damn. You know that you ain't supposed to be here. So for me, I'm one of those witches that is trying to create utopia. I don't like shit to be hard. I don't like struggle. I look at struggle and punch it in the face. Struggle for what? Stressed out about that for what? So because somebody that was stressed out, I'm supposed to be stressed out too because that other person experiences stress and fear. So because someone else experienced stress and fear, I'm supposed to experience it. So this is the basis of generational hexes. This is the reason why my mother hexed me so bad when I was born. She did. I give a damn. That doesn't mean that I'm still hexed because I'm smart enough to know how to remove it. But she hexed me with that spirit of failure and struggle because she failed. And because she couldn't get over my father and his obviously powerful effect over her life. So if your mama don't have her mind together, and see, this my whole thing about it is that, like, I know y'all all think that I'm narcissistic, which I'm not. I'm not that cute to be narcissistic. I'm just a realist. I feel like I was Queen of Sheba. I feel like I was Queen Sheba. I feel like I was all of the queens. So I'm like, where's my throne? And where's my castle? That's pretty much how I've been. And this is the reason why a lot of the people that were in a powerful position were in that position because they were witches. All of the queens, all of the kings, anybody that ever fucking had anything was a witch. I'm not going to start calling names. But anybody that ever had anything, they was a witch. Whether or not you used your personal power or whether or not you did a ritual, we're all witches. We get up every day. We wash our face. We brush our teeth. We iron our clothes. This is a ritual so that you can go out into the world and present yourself so that you can create your environment. It's probably no different than lighting a candle. The problem is all of them damn subconscious blockages, as well as blockages and then energetic curses happening to certain parts of your chakras. technically we are not supposed to have death and suffering and illness on this planet. We're not. When you connect back with who we are, yes, mistakes can happen by nature, but when you are somebody that has the perception of self as being healthy, it don't matter what you look like. I could have a chin growing out of the side of my face, even though I'm gonna say, hey, I look different from all of y'all. I got like a you know, something hanging out the side of my face. I would still have the energy and the spirit to feel like I have rights. And I would expect to either be accepted or not accepted to anybody. So everybody has the right of that. I don't care how different you look. I don't care what it is about you. This is the way you were created by nature, as far as with looks. Now, there's some people that were created by nature to be certain things and other things, but this is what I want to tell you. Because of the petty differences, because of the judgments, because of the certain standards of beauty, because of the certain standards that were set by witchcraft, aka Christianity, all Christians are witches. Pastor is a witch. Jesus, a witch. And you know, those entities can make you feel better, but they're still going to limit you a lot sometimes. It depends. It depends on who you're talking to and what that's a that's a religion I would never pass down to my children, because that religion says that you have to like anybody that was anything was cursed. So, you know, I guess if you were a monk living in a cave and you never did anything, you never explored, you never did anything, you never stepped outside of that box, you never made a mistake. So that religion punishes people for making mistakes. It does. So that's something I would never pass down to my children. And it ends with me. I'm gonna flip the camera real quick, guys. So I'll be right back on camera in a second. That's a religion I wouldn't pass down to my children. So it's not even a natural religion because it tells you to put to death, put all witches and seers to death. So if your parents made a deal with the Christian demon, it's an extremely difficult deal to get out of because, again, and this is usually done by the father. The father is affirming that, and then also that religion says that women should be dominated by male. And this is extremely dangerous. If you ever feel male domination or patriarchy, you have to look at your father. You have to look at the curse of patriarchy. Now, I love my father, but the dude just likes to struggle. He does. He's really not in the same mindset that I am in. Even though I love him, he's not in the same mindset. We don't think the same. As far as because I believe that reality has to be created by you. And no, I don't believe that a male and female relationship has to always include domination. So it's almost like when you are under a Christian father and they've made a deal with those Christian gods and deities, You almost have to fall under the frame of mind of your father, which is very unfair. So whenever you get to dealing with stuff like that, that's when you have to deal with your father's energy, and you want to do some work on your dad. Because sometimes dad can be very limited. And I don't like glass ceilings. I don't. I don't like limitations. I don't like delay. And I don't like struggle. And that's all that religion represents. So if your father was under that, you got yourself, you're going to have to get that Gen Hex remover. Because dad is doing it. His spirits, his intent, his frame of mind. You can definitely cut the cord to your father. Doesn't mean that you hate them. Doesn't mean that you're sacrificing them. It just means that I don't want to be a part of that. Thank you very much. I demand. I demand freedom from that silly, silly rule that makes no sense. Okay. Now, the curse of patriarchy trickled down to the females. So the females are so programmed in your family, including your mother, that they are going to limit you. They're going to limit the hell out of you. They're going to say it's no way that this person can ever be wealthy because I couldn't do it. And if I couldn't do it, then my daughter can't do it. This is the attitude of them. When you do that generational hex remover, removes everything. In fact, baby, that's the one thing that I work on with myself. I do a generational hex remover every 6 months, especially after the first of the year. Sometimes everybody's on a different schedule. A lot of people are on schedule for October, November, December. I do my most generational hex removers during the last 4 months of the year. Okay? So, and coincidentally, for myself, I was on somewhat of a different schedule. I'm not going to say when because they switch it up. If you had a mother that was alive while women were still fighting for their freedom, your mother may have been very limited in what she could do. Okay. And she may have limited herself. And then from there, she limited you. So basically, what happens is that every year or so, every 6 months or so, now let me tell you something. The first year that I removed that generational hex, I earned 6 figures. The first year that I did it. So, because I knew that there was a money blockage and there was also other blockages because it was all about, now it's going to be for different reasons. Why your mother, your aunt, or anybody else in your family would reaffirm a generational hex could either be for your protection or either for your demise. Even the ones that are for your protection can be harmful because it denies your personal freedoms and rights and it limits you. So like, for example, well, I've lived it, I've breathed it, and I've affirmed it and I've showed it. So, for example, my children can say, well, my mother didn't have limits on her. So then I know I won't have limits. But because my mother had limits that she accepted, then I'm supposed to accept limits. And that's not true. Okay. So a generational hex of that proportion can affect the males of the family. because males are going to say, okay, the woman should be limited. I am taught patriarchy. So that means that I'm going to limit myself by trying to limit the opposite sex, which was a mistake for that to be taught in the first place. It affects them too. Because guess what they'll do? They'll go around. So if you are a male that has that, you need to remove it. Because what you will do is automatically limit you, and men are really messed up because it's like, hey, buddy, hey, this is a perfectly capable woman with the capabilities of manifesting a lot of, blessings for your family. Why are you blocking that off? So men have been taught to automatically block, and this is the reason why there's the elite. This is the reason why you see people that have millions of dollars being flashed in your face every day, because this is a subconscious blockage that has to be removed. And I believe that Beyonce and Jay-Z are the poster child for that, which is the reason why Beyonce is so widely hated. But then again, she's equally, if not more, loved by more people. But there's a lot of people that hate that because, there was this whole big thing. Who makes more money? Who's worth more? Either Beyonce or Jay-Z. Well, it's obvious that Beyonce has sold more records because she is an R&B singer. She has done more movies. So of course, but that's okay. But see, to the average man, they couldn't be a Jay-Z because, they would have that subconscious block and say, shoot, my woman can't earn no more money than me. How much you got in your pocket, buddy? $5. $5. So he automatically limits himself while he's trying to limit the female. This is the reason why this is a mistake. And if you are actually a male that is smart enough to figure that out, then you on your way. Until you figure that out, trying to manifest and see, this is the reason why a lot of black women have left black men, because a majority of them want your income to be limited. They want to control you and they want to dominate you. And the way black men have been taught to dominate us, prostitution, abuse, limitations, indoctrination, and limits that are set on you. These limits, while you are growing, can be very frustrating, but there's always a workaround. Okay? There's always a workaround. So you just got to figure out the alternative until you get things together, until you find the correct way. But you always switch it up. You always have a plan A, plan B, plan C. Many of you women, you don't have to give up your business. You just have to come up with alternatives and be patient. Because regardless to what they say, spirit will always show up and show out for you. They always do it. They always do it for me. There's always, and you know what? This is the reason why when I do spell work, I do it and I know it's going to work, and I go on and I have a nice dinner and some dessert, and I watch a movie and I don't fucking worry about it. But a lot of us have been taught stress, worry, limitations. Oh, well, you can't do that because you're black. Well, I mean, we've seen too many successful black people, so we've kind of figured that out. And then also those successful black people that you saw, whether or not it was someone that you knew or in your family, when you saw them become a success, it inspired you. Okay, but if you were a child that grew up with no inspiration, or either you was told, well, you can't make it, you might as well just give up on that, then, So, good evening, Mazi. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry I haven't looked at your comments. I'm going to shout y'all out in a minute because I am being used apparently by the spirit, because this is none of this is written down. This is all off of my head, and I actually felt a little scattered before I came on here, but then all of a sudden they gave me the details that I needed to convey this message to you guys. So I'm so happy to be here and to be sharing this message with you all, because I know how it feels to be afraid. I know how it feels to feel trapped. I know how it feels as a witch to do spells and to sometimes have to reverse those spells and to admit when I was wrong about doing a spell. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a message for anybody that deals with an African American black male. The problem is that they're all carrying way too much bad luck. They don't know how to be good luck. They don't know how to be positive, and this is a serious problem. So this is the reason why anybody that wants to ever get anywhere and not be stressed out ever, ever, ever in life and have a bunch of struggle and a bunch of strife and a bunch of blah, 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 this is the reason why they walk away. Because, and I can see a black man in the chat. Now, I want to say this. All of you are being blamed and judged for bringing in bad energy because of something. And it's an epidemic. We have a psycho-spiritual epidemic of stupidity and a complete perversion of the respect dynamic with the divine feminine, and then the non-acceptance of change by the black male population. It is an epidemic. It is, again, a generational hex. If you are a black man that's affected, because even if you're a black man that's affected, that doesn't even want, you're like, damn, this don't make no sense. This is making it harder for me to survive because I keep doing this, but for some reason I keep going into the sunken place. What the hell am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I going into the sunken place constantly, making stupid decisions based upon some demon that took over and made me do something stupid? Okay? Let me read you guys' comments real quick. You're welcome, Melissa. I'm sorry, Melissa. Hello. So, whether or not you're a woman or a man, you can have a generational hex on you. If you have a generational hex to where your mama feel like all these little whores is whores, and sex is nasty and it's bad. And so those demons from your mother can go on to you and affect your daily life. It can affect the type of women that you are attracted to. It can affect the type of women that you are bringing into your life. Now, also another thing. So basically what happens is that if you have a father or if you have a mother that says, oh, my daughter is all these men are no good. Ain't none of them no good. Ooh, it's just a no good man. I hate all of them. They no good. Guess what? If your mother has that mindset, that is your triple goddess, that is going to affect the men that come into your life, which is why spiritually your mother is even bringing these men into your life. So this subconscious, this blockage can be within your mother's head, which can affect you, which has to be, taken care of with a generational hex remover. If you are a man that think all these women are whores and they just sluts and ain't none of them no good and they all witches and they nasty and they bleeding every month and they creating all this burden because, oh Lord, my family is a burden. Oh God, I'm so stressed out. See, the male, period, has been taught to be stressed out and nervous when his wife is pregnant. Oh, I'm nervous. When your wife gives birth, oh, I got to rush to the hospital and I got to run red lights and there may be a car accident and I might cause a 10 cars crash. And this is the way they depict men in movies to further program this into your subconscious. So this is the reason why you're always stressed out. And this is another trick that is done by the people that want to, the TV people, the people that want to control the population, the people that are confused. And then it's taught to the masses, and then the masses puts it all off on everybody else. So the fuck what? Create your reality. You have every right to do it. Oh, they'll drag you into court for any and everything that they can. I've got a case. No, you don't. You don't really have no case because you created the case so that you could do what? Blame me and demean me and degrade me because I want my freedom, whether or not it's financial freedom, spiritual freedom, whatever it is, because I wanted it and you wanted to take it away from me. So, it's a variety of reasons why this is being done, people, and the universe doesn't co-sign it. It doesn't. In fact, there's a big asteroid headed towards the Earth that has so much gold and healing energy and platinum that everybody on the Earth could be rich, but people won't do it because we have greed. So greed is another demon. Confusion. Greed is caused by fear. You see how the indigo baby has the answer to heal the world and they don't want to do it. In fact, 3 months from now, you'll see a male saying the same thing that I'm saying, and his video will have millions of views. But that's okay, though, because I'm planting a seed. You're fighting against your mothers, your fathers, and the limitations in their mind. This is the reason why I couldn't be with a man right now, because the first thing that a man is going to think is the worst thing, and then it could possibly manifest in my life, depending on what man we're talking about. So men can be our enemies. It depends on what generational curse you're under. It depends. As a Black woman, they say that most of us, we don't get married. Nobody loves us. We don't love ourselves. All of us are stupid. We're unintelligent and ghetto and stupid. So those limitations are automatically set. And it's created a lot of division within the Black community, because if you can pass for something else, many Black women do it. There was a story in an article that I read where this woman actually was a Black woman. It was so shocking. She gave birth to a white daughter. She evidently had her with a white man. She was Black, but she looked white. She was so fair-skinned and her features looked white, that she passed for white or something other than Black. Now, I don't believe in Black people. I believe in shadow demons. I don't believe nobody is the actual color Black. Who is that? Even if it's the deepest, darkest African tribe in Africa, they're never going to be this color. The color of this cauldron. They're never going to be that color. They're going to be something lighter than that. So if it's something, so for me, I don't carry the black thing. I don't carry that with me, and I choose not to. I don't care if I was dark, light, brown, purple. And the reason why is because of the stigmatization around it that's been going on shit hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. And I feel like a lot come from different aspects of Egypt or Africa, which doesn't even matter. There's been, there was all sorts of colors that came out of Africa, including white. Some of them had fine hair, nappy hair. They were all very different. Every that originated from Africa looked different. They didn't all look the same. So the colorism and the racism was created by demons because they said, oh, look at all these people that look different. Wow, we can use this against them. So then you have the stupid stuff that you have, and yeah. Everybody discriminating against everybody. Oh, well, the first thing they do is they discriminate against you because of your color. The second thing they do you have any children? Were you married when you had those children? You're a piece of crap. And your bastard children, I don't like them either, and I'm going to talk about them whenever I want. This is another thing that came out of patriarchy and the curse of religion. Black magic religion that tells you that your children that you gave birth to, with all of the love and the joy in the world, they're bastards and they're no good. And you should be willing to sacrifice them. You should be willing to sacrifice them because the Bible says so. If I could get my father to give up religion before he passes on, I would, because it has created the most struggle in my life, and I don't have to do work to kill my father or to harm him. I do work to simply separate myself from him, and that is the generational curse. Because I am a person, I'm an individual spirit that came into this world through this person for whatever reason. And being that I can see what other people don't see, I can see what's happening spiritually. So this is the reason why you have religious fanatics. They come to my channel and they say, oh, you need to be cursed or possessed by Yahweh or somebody like that. So, it's not okay to have your own God. So we all affect each other vibrationally. But when you have a Gen Hex, this is a person that has access to you. This is a person that may even have some of your DNA because they share DNA with you. I don't like my bangs like that, y'all. I'm sorry. So Gen Hex removers, they have to be done every year, unfortunately. If there is a principal or either an agent that knows witchcraft, which depending on how deep the rabbit hole goes, if you really screwed. But we've got ancestors in magic as well that don't agree. And so it just really depends on your individual situation. Your family members will reaffirm hexes on you for some reason. And you just have to remove them. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. Also, there's always one in every family that is sort of doing dirty things and it depends on how deep the rabbit hole goes with that person. Now, if this person is upset about anything in their life And I'm talking about the way they look, if they're sad, if they're jealous of everybody, so when I look at your generational hexes, I can tell who it is, and I can see it, and it always comes out. And depending on who it is, that person is looking for you all the time to reaffirm that hex, because they're sad, they're fearful, and they're upset. And they want to pass that energy because they have not figured out how to let go of that energy. And you do have to cut contact with that person. You do. And you have to get it away from your children, because at that point, a person that would do that, this is the one thing I want to tell you guys about witchcraft. You have to be very careful in witchcraft, because you can be taken over by a demon that you wouldn't even fucking believe. And I've seen it happen. In particular, when you are in a place of despair. If you go into that place of despair and then something else takes over, then you can find yourself out of control, doing hexes on your daughters, your nieces, and upset, and oh, they look better than me, or oh, I'm mad at them, I'm jealous of them, I'm upset with them. Okay. So everything that you need to know about generational hexes, you can contact me for a consultation. I am going to go over this in another video, but I will tell you here that I'm only accepting credit card payments for either the readings or either merchandise that I send to you. But I'm going to start doing all Western Union MoneyGram for spell work. And that's not because any of my clients have asked for refunds or crap like that. No. That's very, very rare. The reason why is because it's very risky processing those transactions through credit cards, because of the credit card companies and their attitudes towards women in business first, and then also their attitudes towards witchcraft. Okay, so I'll come back and I'll talk to you guys about that on an individual basis. So if you go to the website, in a few minutes, you're going to see that all of my rituals have been taken down. And the reason why is because there's going to be different payment for those. Okay. Let me look at you guys' questions. Okay. Adriana says, hi. Hello. What's up, Miss Likeable? Thank you. Okay, Adriana, literally, I was waiting for you. Okay, cool. So KY says, my family has a history of an addiction. Now, you notice that when you look at television shows like, what was the name of that television show? Intervention. Usually the person that is trying to help the person that is on a lot of drugs, when they're trying to help them, they always say that this is a family problem, and the family has to get some sort of family counseling and help, because typically the family will either enable the drug addict or they will trigger the drug addict in it. As far as, so that actually has something to do with pharmakia. All drugs, anything that's classified as a drug, has a lot to do with pharmakia. And that particular black magic that is over your family, it's an entity that wants the energy, and then also it's an entity of people, because drug sellers, pharmacy companies, pharmaceutical companies, they want to sell you a drug. So if, for example, if they want to sell you a damn blood pressure drug, your family for generations, it's like, we've got this one, and then, oh, your 15-year-old child, their blood pressure is up, And then, but really the reason why the blood pressure is up because there's an uncle or either a cousin that's acting a fool and bothering everybody. This is what causes blood pressure problems, behaviors. So any drug addiction, yes, that is a generational curse, and yes, it can be broken. Unfortunately, you do have to cut ties with the drug addicted because drug addicts, it's a lot of energy keeping a drug addict going, especially if it's something like crack cocaine, heroin, highly addictive chemicals. Hey, Nika G, Blessed 41. Hit that thumbs up, you guys who are in the chat. Okay, Shy12308 says someone used black magic on me, but she's getting it back now. Okay, good. Maya says, especially the white ones that practices hoodoo. Girl, oh goodness. Mozzie says, good evening. Wondering, is it possible to have two or three, even more generational curses? I feel like I'm dealing with these issues now. I appreciate you, Queen. Absolutely. You can have a generational curse coming from your mother's side, and then you can also have it coming from your father's side. It can be multiple things. It can be drug addiction, and it can also be the spiritual justice system, the legal justice system. This is why sometimes you can have a lot of men or boys in the family. Everybody goes to jail. Um, Generations of women on welfare, generations of men that, are abusive. So, yeah, it is possible to have two or three or more. It depends on what happened through the generations. Now, if you had a really toxic background in your family, which you have to look at the background of your family. This is the reason why I do a lot of work for Caucasian people. The reason why is because the history of slavery within itself is a curse on a lot of white people. Even though it brought them a lot of prosperity, it brought them a lot of pain and anguish because they were taking the lives of another, and it wasn't necessary to do that. So this is the reason why a lot of Caucasian white people, they step away from racist people in their family, and even a lot of them will gravitate more so towards the black community. Okay, so that's a big one. Right now, we have a lot of Caucasians who are in denial about it, but the only thing to do is to pay the debt. Denying it is not going to do you any good. You're going to still feel that spirit in your heart gnawing at you, nagging at you, saying to you that this is wrong. And this can be caused by your grandfather, your grandmother. And so white people have a deep history in that. And the clients that I see that have generational curses of racism, they want to break free from it. And they come to me to break free from that as well. Okay. This is the reason why a lot of them separate, from their families, because there's a lot of negative energy that is associated with that. Okay. A lot of negative energy. It's not good. They suffer a lot because of that. Because spirit, our ancestors, is constantly gnawing and nagging at their consciousness, and it's very difficult. Okay. Melissa, you're welcome, sweetie. Hey, Weeks family. F a hater, boss life. What's up? Welcome to the channel. Aries Princess, hello. It doesn't always come from the mother. It can come from the father. For example, if you have a father that believes that women should be poor until they meet a rich man that's worthy with a job, then more than likely, this is what will manifest in your life Unless you just so happen to be a woman that went down that path and married a rich man. That doesn't mean that you have to be denied wealth, but you have to know the correct channels to go through to break you and free you of that limitation and get you where you want to be financially. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, I've done it. Even though the biggest lie that men have told on me is that I'm broke. The biggest lie, and it's mainly a black man. That's the biggest lie that they have ever told you. The biggest lie. And the reason why they tell that lie is because a lot of black men are under the curse and they're under the demonic control of racism, religion, and the curse of patriarchy. Hey, Sharon. There's nothing wrong with loving money, Miss Likeable. You can love money all you want. I love money too. We all do. And there was a point in time where I didn't love it. I wanted to abolish it, but it ain't gonna never happen. So you either gonna jump on the horse or not. And there's a reason for that. And it is because you should not feel so limited in your ability to make money. The only reason why you feel limited is because of the generational curses. Now, the one thing I can tell you about the males is that they don't mind limiting the woman, but they don't want to be limited within themselves, but that is going to limit you as a man because everybody has rights. Everybody has divine spiritual rights, okay? What's up, Israelite mommy? Okay. Can you please talk about how black mothers see their daughters as competition and they protect and coddle their sons? Another generational curse. Yes, it is. It's the curse of envy. And then also the fact that women are taught that about the age of 30 or 40, by the curse of patriarchy, which included pedophilia, that when you reach the age of 30, you're no good, you're used up, you're spoiled, and they know that that ain't the truth because all they got to do is sleep with you for one night and they're addicted forever. But then again, that demon kicks in and, you know, so that's the reason why older women compete against their daughters because of the curse of pedophilia. Once a woman reaches her 30s or 40s, you're supposed to be old and used up and no longer attractive to anybody in the world. So, yeah. And a lot of women will accept that because they'll feel the same way and they'll look at their daughters like, you little, you know, bitch, how dare you? Cutting their eyes at you and stuff, giving you the evil eye. Mm-hmm. All right. Maya Kennels, that's the same with white mothers. Yep. Yep. It happens. It's not just for black people, but society, being fake as it is, wants you to believe that it's just black women because again, they still haven't faced the fact, but there's just as many white women afflicted as black women, okay? By generational curses. All right. So, guys, I hope that this was everything that you needed to know about it. Have to go back and listen to this again, you can. But if you guys want to reach me for a consultation for a Gen Hex removal, it's time. This is around the time of the year when I start doing a lot of them. Because believe it or not, spirits wants us cleared of this. And, like I said, I talk to you guys about my spirit guides all the time. What they're trying to do is liberate and free people from these demonic hexes. Okay. Okay, guys. So the link to my website is below. You can go and get a consultation. But like I said, I'm changing my payment methods. I'll be right back in a little bit to kind of explain why I'm doing that. And it's going to be permanent going forward. as far as the rules and regulations behind what payment types that I accept, okay, for my rituals. But you can go to the website. You'll be able to go there and get a consultation. You can also go there to order items from the website. But I'll come back and explain as far as like why I've decided to do that, okay? Because witches and rituals, we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet, and my rituals start at 300. But as soon as you start processing payments in the amount of 500, 1,500, thousands of dollars, a lot of these companies will say, "Hey, what is this?" And then they'll start being nosy. They want, all kind of stuff. So we'll see how all that works out. But, so it's going to be MoneyGram Western Union for payment for rituals. It doesn't cost that much. It's worth it. And but you do have the convenience of going to the website and sending in your payment for your readings, or you can pay by Cashapp. Okay. My Cashapp is $ Psychic Jamila. And I'm going to be getting rid of Cashapp as well. And I'll come and explain all of that to you guys later. Okay. Welcome to the channel. I am High Priestess Jamila. What I can tell you is that my work has been proven. I don't have to beg, fight, scratch, bite for anybody to deal with me. I don't beg people. But you got to understand, and you have to be able to recognize these generational curses that are on you and understand that you can either manage them or take them off. Now, let's say that you have a generational curse to be poor. Let's say that your parents were poor. They could never manifest money. Well, that was blockages within them that were set by, different entities and different contracts and service agreements, probably beyond your control. So if you think about the cost of a generational hex remover, when you compare that to, okay, if I do this, I can earn 100 or 150 grand or even 200 grand. So the cost of that is not that much. And then I always tell people to do a follow-up ritual yearly. And the reason why I tell you to do the follow-up ritual is going to be for if you have a principle in the family that keeps reaffirming the hex to different individuals in the family, either out of jealousy or stupidity, because those people are usually getting their negative karma anyway. We can feel them in the spirit suffering for their confusion. Okay. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. You're very welcome. I will see you guys later. Have a happy Friday. And love and light. Bye-bye.